be all right. The walk home ain't too far. Good night, Mr. Horn. Good night, Will. Tonight, like old times, piano just calls to me and I start playing. You know, I ain't never had a lesson in my life. I give 'em though, ain't much to it. Started playing as a girl and soon word caught up and I was playing all over town as early as 16. And it wasn't just playing at society parties and picnics and state fairs. I'll have you know, in October of 1898, United Brothers of Friendship came calling. They'd come together to raise money to resist the policy of segregated public schools, and they were needing entertainment. Y'all are wondering why that even matters. Well, let Miss Cordelia let you in on a little history of the times. Now y'all can sit, stand, do as y'all like, but I'm gonna come up here and have a seat, 'cause tonight was long. All right. So United Brothers of Friendship and segregated public schools. On September 8th, 1896, 3 months after Plessy versus Ferguson. You know, Plessy versus Ferguson, the case where they decided we were all separate but equal. All right. Well, the Alton City Council passed an ordinance, later signed by Mayor Henry Brueggemann, giving the Board of Education the authority to send a child to the district school the board saw fit, rather than to the school closest to the child's neighborhood. The school board then gave this authority to the superintendent of schools in September of 1897. So what do you think happened? Superintendent Robert Haight sent all black children to Douglas and Lovejoy, and all white children stayed at the other 5 schools. Now, I was only but 16 or 17 at the time, and Lincoln High stayed desegregated. So me and my brother weren't affected. But for how long? And life for coloreds was never easy. But Plessy versus Ferguson wasn't in any way making things better. The number of lynchings, mob attacks, race riots, I ain't never seen the kind. And the violence. And then the curfews be set on us. Couldn't be out on the street at certain times. Parks, hotels, restaurants, and schools used to be open to all of us were now closed to Negroes. Well, we were determined to maintain some rights, and we prayed to gain others. So we challenged these assaults. Have y'all heard of Scott Bibb and his case? His children were told they couldn't go to the school near their neighborhood. They went anyway. First day, little Minnie and Ambrose were sent home. The next day, the police greeted them at the door, and Scott Bibb did what any father would do if they could. He took it to court. And to help Scott Bibb with all those legal fees, Negroes started fundraising. We held picnics, riverboat excursions, dances, concerts, dinners, and all were needing entertainment. So that night of October 1898 was my night of racial solidarity. In the beginning of my career, I was playing all over society. Sigma Phi, Western Military Academy, Knights of Columbus, Naval Militia even called me up. Word spread something quick, and as soon as I could, I started traveling, mostly within the Midwest. Oh! I even wrote my very own play, Jolly Octoroons. Oh, Lord! It played up in City Hall. It was so good that it made it up to Temple Theater up here on Broadway. We were supposed to take it out to Jerseyville, and then out on the road. That didn't come too, but I didn't get too held up, though, because I was catching on. Do you know who came down to visit me? I'll bet you never guessed. Good old Scott Joplin. That's right, me. Oh, come on! You know, Scott Joplin, Maple Leaf Rag Entertainer, yeah, the king of ragtime himself. He moved down here to St. Louis a few years back, heard about me, and then came on down. Scott Joplin. The two of us had this town hooting and hollering and carrying on like the party was ever gonna stop. Oh, but then music started changing. Jazz orchestra started to take hold, and I had days. 5-piece jazz orchestra, all the way up to 12, depending on the place. And had a few good years on the Steamboat Spread Eagle and on the Steamboat Pisaw, and that was good for a time. But I wanted more. And no one was caring too much about waltzes and two-step. So I joined up with Pantage's vaudeville circuit. Pantage's owned more than 70 vaudeville theaters up and down the Pacific coast and beyond in Canada and the United States. The circuit took me from coast to coast playing piano and vocals. And up until then, I'd lived with my mom and daddy and my brother Connie. So that year away, it was hard. So in July of 1925, planned a visit, staying for a few weeks and then meeting back up with the circuit in Duluth. But when I came down, I found my brother Connie hard up. He'd gone sick. And being he was my only brother, I stayed. We lost Connie in November of that year. And it was hard on my mother and father. In fact, it was hard on all of us. Lost good old Connie. Connie wasn't my first loss, you know. Show business makes it hard to keep a man and even harder to keep a baby. But I had one good year with my baby John. He died in 1912. Back in Alton, and with the loss of Connie, I wasn't leaving Mom and Daddy. I thought I'd be able to pick up right where I'd left. But that sure wasn't the way of it. An artist never wants to admit time's past. I went from the queen of jazz to back home and being what was. Jazz had a whole new sound, and the vaudeville circuit had moved to pictures. So why not co-own a shoe store in Alton, right? The Miller brothers and me opened up 20th Century Shoe Repair on 117th West 4th. But in no time, those lying, two-timing Negroes tried to get one over on Cordelia. Do you know that one of them struck me? I filed charges. But he got no more than a $10 fine. Life. Tired, frustrated, burnt out. I was somebody till I wasn't. Times change, and sometimes not for the better. And before you know it, you're in your final resting place. Here, no more than 50 years on this earth. Those who dance and romance while they dance, they seem so happy and gay. Though they sing while they swing and they sway, somehow I can't feel that way. I've been dancing with tears in my